Good evening, everyone. This is Mickey Rivers with Weazel News, and I'm here today with Representative Becks Lawson, the leader of the Progress Party, at their rally here at the beautiful Endeavor Vineyard. Representative Lawson is running for a third term here within the state legislature. Welcome. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Of course, pleasure is always.
Now, I think we'll start with what's probably the top of everyone's minds. You are coming into your third term in the legislature, which makes you the most experienced candidate in the field in terms of time as a state representative. What do you feel that affords you in terms of experience that you're bringing to this campaign?
I think the problem with a lot of new legislators is they have these fantastic ideas, but they really struggle with breaking it apart into concrete, step by step by step plans. And that means even these very well intentioned ideas that would benefit the populace end up kind of flying under the radar because unfortunately, it doesn't matter how solid a plan is if you can't effectively make it happen. I fully anticipate that in my final term, I will be putting less of my own ideas on the table. I passed a prolific 17 bills this Congress, and that does not include the ones that I was on that another legislator submitted. So I feel like my voice has been heard. I will continue to represent the people, but I also want to help my fellow legislators get their voice across and have their ideas become concrete realities.
And presumably that's what led you to create the Progress Party this last term, the first political party here within the state of San Andreas. So, going into this election season, what are some of the issues that you feel, have come out of the creation of the Progress Party that you have, put on the platform because of this group of individuals that you have put together to, create a collective political action?
Absolutely. I can tell you that one of our main priorities this Congress will be forming a committee to overhaul the penal code. This is a very dated document. It hasn't been kept up to date necessarily. There are errors in it. There are issues that some things have not scaled appropriately with our economy. Other things remain way too harsh. And in general, it's just a document that's very much held together by the hard work of our judiciary and legislators, but it's a very ineffective foundation. With a penal code overhaul, we will be able to streamline that, create a fairer, more equitable justice system, and also make things easier and more transparent for the citizens of San Andreas. I think there are so many changes that it's hard to emphasize just one angle to the benefits of this, right? It's going to be really improving the foundation on which our legal system is built. We'll be doing a penal code overhaul, a legislative overhaul, and also working to continue to bring social benefits to the people of San Andreas. One of the biggest achievements of my career was championing the creation of the DHS, which has grown from a relatively humble start to now maintaining several systems in like addiction, counseling, recovery, housing for the homeless. And I'm incredibly proud of the work they do, and I intend to keep championing those sort of systems in our state.
All right, and looking at the rest of the Progress Party that is here with you today, what do you have to say about the junior members of the party who have put themselves forth to the voters of San Andreas in this election?
Absolutely. I can tell you that I don't agree on every single thing that other Progressive Party members say or vote on. There will be times we disagree. There will be times that we vote against each other. But that's because we are coming together under a big tent. And that big tent is we genuinely care about improving the lot of the people of San Andreas, creating a healthier and more vibrant ecosystem where people can rely on each other and rely on their government and know that there are people out there who can help them. Jordan, I know, has done a lot of work speaking with the community. The Weed Freedom Act that he sponsored was really based on speaking of members of euphoric uh, dispensary and hearing what they had to say, which is not a perspective that we had available to us at the legislative table. So that was invaluable work. Audrey, on the other hand, she is incredibly passionate about what she does. She is deeply dedicated to helping our overwhelmed medical system. She is very, very intelligent, and she's already started on some, I think, fantastic legislative measures, including the Victims' Rights Act, which show, again, like, at the end of the day, it really is about the human element and providing for that in our state.
All right. And looking back on your time within the legislature, you are, of course, as we said before, seeking your third and final term as a state representative, but you are preceded by the current Speaker of the Legislature, Endeavor Jackson, who just completed his third term as well. Is there anything that you've learned in your time working together with Speaker Jackson that you're carrying forward, in your bid to be now the most senior member in the legislature?
Absolutely. I think Endeavor had a lot of practical wisdom. Like I said, a very underappreciated element of knowing how to pass a bill is knowing who to talk to. Endeavor has always been very connected. He is always good at calling someone and just striking up a conversation. And even if there's a problem, even if there's a conflict, just reaching that gap, reaching out and starting that conversation. I think that is part of the reason why I have strived to be very present during my terms in Congress, and I'm hoping that is something that his legacy brings forward because he, is someone who you could call and speak to, and he knew who to talk to in government, and he was willing to build those bridges, which is something I very much appreciate.
And on that note, as you noted, a lot of the role of being a state representative is connecting with the people, is speaking with different parts of the community to understand their needs. So in that context, what's one community within San Andreas that you feel you're very well connected to and able to represent their needs? And conversely, what's one community that throughout this campaign, and should you be reelected in your final term, that you would make a concerted effort to improve your connection with to ensure that they're better represented within the state government?
Absolutely. I would say that I am connected to the business community. I have worked very hard on creating these measures that help businesses succeed, whether that was co sponsoring the Business Growth Act and helping to establish the foundation, the legal foundation for a chamber of commerce run by citizens, whether that's working with businesses every day. We're working with Pop's Diner tonight for catering, local DJs, local talents. There is very much a thing where sometimes the best thing you can do for businesses is just provide them work. And that's always something I'm eager to do. And also, I have a very close relationship with many of these people. I've been a business owner myself, so I've worked with them, I've partnered with them. I've had the same struggles. Now, I would definitely say I would love to speak more with law enforcement officials. I have managed in a very strong sense to build a connection to leadership and command. However, there are always going to be people on the street, and they are going to be seeing sort of the everyday reality of certain policies and certain laws. And I would love it if, I had more of a connection with people who are in that very dangerous, very necessary profession so that I can get an idea of what could help them because I feel like they are often so overwhelmed, so exhausted from having 7 buckets of water and 9 fires that it's hard to maintain that sort of perspective and understanding. So that is definitely something I will strive to improve on my final term.
All right. And what's something that you've learned in your first 2 terms of office that you feel you can employ to make yourselves an even better representative of the people should you be elected to a third and final term?
I think the biggest thing is knowing when something needs to die, which sounds very tragic. But there are bills where I have been deeply passionate about them, but the truth is, politics is always a kind of triage. You know, there are people who have passion projects, they're very one issue legislators, and ultimately, I feel like to be a successful politician in the state, you need to adapt to the needs of the people. They decide what your priorities are. You don't get to decide that for yourself. You are a servant of the people, and as such, you may not enjoy what you're working on. It may be something you don't understand or don't share an affinity for, but it's your duty to be there and to provide the services of a representative. And I would really encourage people to have that basic sense of curiosity about other people's experiences and what they go through, because that will be invaluable in helping you decide what your top priorities need to be.
All right, all right. And of course, we're about a week into the campaign season. And we're here today at the Progress Party rally. So far throughout the campaign, are there any issues that you may not have come into the campaign as a champion of, but have been of particular note in your discussions with the voters of San Andreas as you've been striving to learn what their needs are?
I definitely think the number one thing I've noticed, and it's unexpected because it's not what you would think a typical campaign issue would be, because it's not economic, it's not about government services, but it's about a deep sense of abandonment. I think many people who are struggling, they feel like they're being stalked by the driftwoods or tormented by criminals, or they have been forced into a penal system that is not allowing them to flourish now that they are trying to repent. And I think those people often feel like there's no way forward, like there's no one there to listen to them or to assist them in any way. And I feel like that is the strongest uh, thing that the people need, is someone to listen sometimes. Because I can make all these promises, I can say that I'll create so many jobs and boost this and boost that. But at the end of the day, trust is really founded off the most basic thing, which is listening to people, not just hearing them, and being able to see it through their eyes. Because I think a lot of people in the state feel like there just aren't enough people in government who are capable or interested in doing that.
And on that note, what is it that you feel that either you personally or the legislature as a whole can do in the upcoming term to better connect with the community of San Andreas and to better listen to their needs and make sure that they feel represented?
So something that I wish I could do that I do not because of safety issues is have an open office policy where you can come and just swing by and say hi. Due to safety issues, that's not quite feasible, but I do the next best thing, which is you can call me at any time if I am on duty, and that is usually when I am awake and in the city. You can look in the government app and call me. I will make time, we will sit down, and we will have a conversation. Um, because that's ultimately, as much as I would love to be able to solve problems that everyone faces, I'm not a mind reader, and I need help from the people to know what's happening. So definitely reach out. You can also join our email chain by going to sa-progress.com, and that provides kind of a more informal space where people can talk and share their thoughts. And we do plan regular progress meetings and share updates on functions of government and so on.
And on the note of the meetings and operations of the Progress Party, what's something that you have learned in the time since you created the Progress Party and became its leader?
I think it's definitely the merit of compromise. It did not take long for an opposition party to be formed, the Liberty Party, which is of course run by Commissioner Thad Furtaw. And there are elements of the Liberty Party that I disagree with. But that being said, we have come to the table since both parties' creations. The San Andreas Self Defense Act, which really enhances a citizen's right to protect themselves when they are in danger, which, with our current crime crisis, I feel like is imperative. That was something that was coordinated on and built between both parties. And I think having these big picture partnerships is great for the populace because it's easier to join the conversation. I feel like often all the conversation about politics happens during the election, and it creates a perception that politicians only talk about this stuff to get elected. So by having the party infrastructure and having these like very obvious jump on points where you want to get involved, you have an idea of who stands for what you do, and maybe you even want to start your own political party. I think that's fantastic for organizing and creating successful change.
All right, and on the note of political parties, so far we have several prominent political parties within this current election. Of course, the Progress Party, your party. We have the Liberty Party, as you said, headed by Commissioner Thad Furtaw, as well as the not a political party with former Governor James Paxton. And each of these parties seem to have a different ethos, a different approach to, how they engage with the political process and what their beliefs are, and even, how they operate in terms of, whether they're registering their party in an official matter, whether they gather around different common ideals and things like that. What is it that you think sets the Progress Party apart compared to your peers?
I would say it's three things. First of all, it's our curiosity. We do not have our beliefs concretely set in stone because, as hard as we work, as many people as we talk to, we only have our experiences and our personal biases. So a lot of what I do is just talk to people and listen to people. Even if I don't have an immediate suggestion, just hearing from them is always valuable. And that's something we really curate in our members. Second is experience. By having these sort of, I have my long career in politics. Miss Storm is and Mr. Malone are running for re-election, and Mr. Malone did serve as my secretary before being instated as a state representative. We're really trying to build a process and a pipeline for legislation that makes it easier for future legislators. We want to leave Congress better than we were voted in. And I think that's something that's going to be crucial when it comes to having a successful future in the state. And then third, I would say, is just compassion. I think a lot of people right now in the state are struggling. I think they need help from the government. I think they've been failed by the systems. And I think telling them to, work harder and believe in the American dream is insulting. I think that, when these people are struggling, it's up to the government to step in and help how we can. I very strongly believe that I am a public servant, and that is very represented in the Progress Party and our policies.
All right. And of course, one of the big stories of this campaign season is that Lieutenant Governor Carmen McKenzie had initially declared herself as a member of the Progress Party, but is now running for governor on the Liberty Party ticket. Do you have any comments on that as the leader of the Progress Party?
Absolutely. Carmen was the first. I think she came to me when she wanted to consider making a switch, and she did it because for her, she has a wide spread of beliefs, and there's overlap in both parties' platform, but she ultimately made a choice that worked better for her, which is everyone's right. And obviously, I'm not upset because the whole idea of having these parties is to create a stronger political environment. A rising tide lifts all ships, is how I put it. So I'm delighted that she's running for the Liberty Party. I've worked with Carmen for many months. I have a lot of respect for her, and there are definitely no hard feelings. But I'm very interested to see where the Liberty Party goes and how much success they have in this upcoming election.
All right. And, thinking about the other candidates that are running in this election, is there anything that you've heard so far in terms of the policies being proposed or the issues that people are focusing on outside of the ones that you yourself are advocating for that you found particularly interesting or noteworthy so far in this campaign?
Absolutely. And full disclosure, I am Jericho Del Monte's sister. I am actually not thrilled he's running for office because, well, it's a little bit too much Jericho for me. But something he has consistently spoken about is the need for accountability and transparency in government. Um, I think that's obviously something that is easier said than done, but he speaks about the ways that we can have transparency for the people. And Jericho is, of course, a business owner of some repute. So he has a perspective that I don't. And I do find that interesting because I am all about communication in government and how to increase that.
All right. And looking specifically at the latest political party here within San Andreas, the Not a Political Party led by former Governor James Paxton, who said, and I quote, "Our platform is simple. We do not have one. While I do not expect that this party will be revolutionary by any means, I think it is a step in the right direction in representing those of us who do not wish to be represented by a normal political party." Do you have any response to that statement?
No, I think it stands for itself. I've worked with both Castor and James. They're both great men. I'll be happy to work with them again should they both or one of them be elected. Obviously, I disagree with that ethos of the parties, but this is America. You have the right to have your opinion, and I certainly don't begrudge it by any measure.
All right, and looking forward to the rest of the campaign season, do you individually or the Progress Party as a whole have any upcoming events that people should take note of to attend if they would like to connect with your campaigns and learn more about your platform in this election?
So we wanted to be considerate to the other people running and not have a whole smorgasbord of events taking up the calendar. So this is kind of our mega event to consolidate that. However, we will be available and active. Please check your government app. If you see us sign in, please call us and talk to us. We are very accessible in that state, and you don't need an event to come talk to us. That's just part of our job, and we're happy to do it.
All right, and one final question for you here before we wrap up. Of course, you are running as a member of the Progress Party. Do you personally have any endorsements that you would like to share for the candidates in either race in this election?
Absolutely. I would like to endorse Carmen McKenzie and Jacob Wheeler for the office of governor. Like I said, I've worked with Carmen side by side for 9 months. She and I have sort of been the backbone of government this Congress, and I have full faith in her ability to be governor for a successful Congress and lead us further forward. I'd also like to endorse Jericho Del Monte as a state representative. While I admit he would not be my favorite person to work with, I have to acknowledge the good that he has done for the people of San Andreas with his businesses. He's been a prolific job creator. He's been passionate with the community and passionate with helping people, and I feel like that should be rewarded. He is very connected to the community, and he genuinely cares.
All right, and before we end this interview, is there anything else that you would like to share with the voters of San Andreas as a candidate in this election?
I think the best thing that you can do is stay involved, stay aware, and don't just get involved for the election season. Plug in all year, all season. If you see a bill you hate, call us and yell at us. If you see something that you like but you don't think it goes far enough, call us and yell at us. You'll see a lot of candidates come out just for election to show their face. Make sure you're building these connections all throughout the year. Talk to the people around you. Make your voice heard. That's really, democracy relies on you doing that work. And I am more than happy to meet you halfway.
There you have it, folks. I'm Mickey Rivers here with Weazel News. We've been speaking with State Representative Becks Lawson 2 term in office, seeking her 3rd and final term as the veteran member of the legislature. Thank you, Representative Lawson, for joining us today. And we here at Weazel News wish you the best of luck in your upcoming campaign.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.